Now I'm ready to put the wires on my reed and wrap it. So my reed has dried out for several days and my markings are there. I've cut my wires. I'm going to use 3 wires. This is my last chance to really try to line up this little area right here that we've been talking about throughout the process. And I like to slightly separate the blades here. You can see they're slightly apart, and when I squeeze they come just together. I find that gives me a little bit of a better blank and I don't get as much overlap in my reed. So I'm going to put that in place, try to hold it in position. The first wire I will put on will be my second wire, which is this one here. Whatever side you start on, pull around. Try not to overlap the wire. I always wrap top over bottom towards me. And again, I'm separating just a tiny bit so that when I pull that together, I get just a connection there and it doesn't pull in too much. So I'm going to put that. You have to decide where you're going to put your wires on your pencil mark, whether it's above, below. I want the twist to be in the center, and I am pulling as I twist. And the reed is dry, so I'm not really digging into the bark at all here as I do this. So I'll get that nice and snug, take that off. The next wire that I'm going to put on my reeds is the one that's at the very bottom. And I like to do a double wrap on this one. The wire will point the other direction. It's about 6 or 7 millimeters. I tend to eyeball this one. So I'm going to go around twice. So you see that there's a double wrap there. And I want the twist to be on the opposite side. Get everything lined up. Get it straight and where I want it positioned. Again, pulling slightly as I twist so that I don't break the wire. So now I have 2 wires on. I got a pretty good looking edge here. We can kind of see that. You see 2 distinct. That side isn't as good, but that one is better. And then I'll put my last wire on. And I do a side wrap. You can do whatever type of wrap that you wish. Now my reed is really stable. And so I'm going to just do this last bit. And again, I'm trying to get that twist to be right on the seam if I can. And I'm going to pull and twist. Make sure my wire is straight. It's positioned where I want it to be positioned. Snug. And I'll cut the wires off. So now I'm at this state. And I'm not going to twist to take this off. If this comes off, if it's difficult to get this to come off, I'm going to move my camera here. If it's difficult to get this to come off, I'm going to use my pliers and just push. And there it goes. If I twist at this stage, I'm going to end up potentially creating a twist in the blank. And then when I cut the tip off, the blades are going to slip into one another. So you can kind of see, got a really nice round tube, really good connection there right here where we did the beveling. So there's no gaps there at all. I usually sand the back of my reed just a little bit at this stage on a piece of sandpaper. Just kind of seals it in, seals everything together. Looks really good. So now we're going to go ahead and wrap this particular blank. So So the first thing I do on my reeds is I check to see that the wires are snug, but because I just put them on, I know they're snug, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. The very bottom wire, I'm going to cut off to about 1 twist. So I've cut it off. There's about 1 little twist there. You can kind of see that against the white paper in the background. So I use nylon string. There's lots of different companies where you can source this. I do use beeswax, real beeswax, not just yellow wax that's dyed to look like beeswax, but it should be sticky. So this helps me when I'm wrapping. So I pull my string through this. It helps me when I'm wrapping to keep the string in the position that I put it in. I do still use Duco cement. However, I don't feel like this part of the process has such an impact. If your blank looks really good, you know, anything that you want to use to seal the bottom here, keep this wire up so you don't glue the wire in. Anything that seals it really well. So if you put nail polish on it or Duco cement and then nail polish or whatever type of glue you like, I think that's fine. I just like to wrap it, and it helps me to kind of color code my reeds so I can tell what's happening, which ones are which, what the density is. You can see it written on there. So I'm still using a little bit of Duco. And I'm going to try to get this a little bit closer. So I'm going to put a piece on the mandrel under my thumb, and I'm going to make an 8 over the top wire and that very bottom one. So it's holding it in place. Once I start twisting, I can let go. I do pull quite a bit on my string because I want it to be tight. So I'm covering up that double wrapped wire. And then once that's all kind of covered up and even, then I'll start making the alternation. So I go up, then go down, go about halfway around, go down, and I'm watching where I went down the last time. If you're new to this, you might find it easier to use a variegated color because it's easier to see where you've been. So I'm still pulling pretty tightly, twisting with my left hand. You can do this the other way if you feel comfortable with it, but I just have always done it with the mandrel in my left hand. I don't think there's really any rules about this. You just do it until you like the way it looks, and then we'll finish it off. Depending on the thickness of your string, you may do more or less of this. But I do like, for me, the nylon, and because when I do the tie off at the end, I need the strength in the string. They also make machines that will wind the reed for you. So that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go to the top, and again I'm pulling, kind of pulling that string tight to the reed. Pushing down a little bit as I go, trying not to overlap. When I get to the top, I'm kind of pressing another layer in because I know when I pull on it, it's going to pull it down. So now I'm at the top, and I want to cut a piece off. So I have this loop that I made. So I'm going to push the loop off the wire. And I'm going to thread the string through the loop. Make sure it's below that wire. Whoop. Below the wire. So I've got it through the loop. You can kind of see that there. And I'm going to pull. And as I pull, the knot traveled through and disappeared into here. So then I will cut away the excess, and I'm cutting away from the other string. Use my thumbnail to kind of smooth it out. And there we have it. And it shouldn't unwrap at all. And theoretically, I don't think you need to put the outside layer of Duco. I just like the way that it makes my reed firm. And then I also apply a number. So I have a sequence of reeds that I've made in this batch. And I put a number on the reed itself. And I'll cover it with nail polish after this has dried a little bit. So I'm going to end up putting this little number here. There's a little number 2 right there that I'll just put on the string here for myself, and then I just use clear nail polish to seal the reed up and put the, I'm going to move a little bit of glue up there. I missed a spot. There we go. And I'll put the number on there so that I know in the sequence, the lower the number, the higher the density of the cane, the heavier the weight of the cane. So that's the wires and the wrapping process. And you can see as we look at this, we're looking at that connection right in there that we were trying to get. It's pretty good on this side.